Hi there, welcome to the video, welcome back to the channel. If you're a return viewer, I'm Kerry and this is the Christchurch Review of Books. Today I'm sitting here in a sweltering room, yet again, it always seems to be the case when I'm filming these videos lately. It is the 2nd of March. Yes, I've overshot the date a little bit in doing this book haul, because this book haul is about the books I obtain in the month of February. Try saying that. Okay. So without further ado, we'll run through the books I picked up. I thought it was going to be a very short book haul, but I went out to a large used bookshop yesterday and picked up about 4 more. So anyway, without further ado, first book that came my way was this one, George Orwell, A Life by Bernard Crick. Yes, I went on a bit of an Orwell kick in January, and this is one of the results. I ordered a bunch of books about him, and this I thought was a recent revised edition of Bernard Crick's seminal biography of Orwell, but this seems to be a revised edition that came a little earlier, hence the unusual cover. This is not matching the new version, but anyway, Crick's biography, like I think I said last time, is the only one that was authorised by Orwell's wife Sonia, so he gets a bit of the inside word from there. I'm currently reading Mr. Taylor's biography of Orwell, The Life, not to be confused with A Life. Making slow progress through this. I hope you don't mind the traffic noise outside. Yeah, so no idea when I'll get to read this one. Maybe I'll go off Orwell altogether. You know, I go through these binge-like crazes of authors and subjects, and sometimes I just lose interest after a while. Anyway, next up, A Conventional Boy by Charles Stross. Now this is the latest and apparently second to last story in the long-running Laundry Files series by Mr. Stross, and he started in the early 2000s or mid 2000s, and apparently there's only going to be one more story after this called the Regicide Report. Now the Laundry Files, for the uninitiated, is a kind of cross between espionage and cosmic horror, I guess you'd say, type story. Started out the tale of Mr. Bob Howard, a agent that worked for the so-called Laundry, a secret British intelligence division which was dedicated to using advanced mathematics to stop the threat of interdimensional beings from invading Earth. And these interdimensional beings use basically what we call magic, but it turns out that magic is just really advanced mathematics, and all the computery stuff going on in the world today was weakening the wall between them and us, and they started to invade. Bob Howard seems to be written almost out of his own series because he became too powerful, and various other characters were invented to carry on this series, and then it became a sub-series about what happened when, after the Laundry actually lost its battle against the eldritch creatures, and the UK was taken over by an evil overlord, and there was, I think, 4 books in that series. It looks like we're getting back into the main series again now. This one uses yet another new character called Derek. It's a short story, I believe. I think there are a couple of other short stories which have been out for a while, actually included in this volume. Yeah, so it's about a guy who was into role-playing games, and that somehow leads on to his expertise and role in the fighting the forces of evil, whatever. The Laundry File series were a lot of fun. I really enjoyed them. Got off the boil a little, I felt, when he moved into the sub-series about the new management over England or whatever. Hopefully he can pull it back on course for the final book, which is apparently coming in about a year's time. So this one is A Conventional Boy by Charles Stross. Okay, so sucker as I am, I bought a couple of books from RTBs in Wellington. I'm always on the lookout for this type of thing, these 1001 whatevers or guides to whatever, and this one is 1000 record covers by, it's a Taschen book, part of their 25 series. So that was when in the early 2000s they started republishing a lot of their most popular books in these kind of handy, much cheaper versions. And this book, basically all it is is 1,000 record covers. There we go, see, all sorts, and it's chronologically ordered. There is a text by a gentleman called Michael Oakes, who apparently knows about these type of things, but mainly it's just photos of record covers. You know, I just like browsing this type of book for reference, for enjoyment, for fun, whatever you want. You know, there's no great intellectual stimulation from reading a book like this. It's just entertainment, and you know, maybe if you need to look up a certain record cover, you could find it in a book like that. So that is 1,000 record covers by the Taschen 25th series. Apparently the original version of this book was much larger format and came out in the 1990s. I guess you're fortunate if you get that one. The rest of us have to afford these smaller versions. And another 1001 type book came from RTVs as well, was this one, 1001 children's books you must read before you grow up. And this is a really gorgeously designed and illustrated book, which, no surprise for learning, is about children's books. And it's all kind of colour-coded, as you can see on the spine there, colours for different age groups. And all the books that you supposedly have to read before you die, children's books, or read to your children, perhaps. And of course, as you would expect for a book like this, it is very well illustrated. All the covers, I see they've taken a distinct choice to use the original edition covers of all the books they cover. There's a very famous one, it's Tolkien's design for the Hobbit cover. Yeah, so this is another thing you can, there we go, the Lion, Witch and the Wardrobe. This is another thing you can browse through endlessly and get enjoyment from, seeing all the stuff you remember, or the books you don't remember or wanted to read or never got around to read. There's The Adventures of Baron Munchausen. Okay, so that is a really nice book anyway. It's 1001 children's books you must read before you grow up, part of the 1001 blah 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 series. Chunky books they are. I always on the lookout for this type of thing because they're very good value, and they're usually great illustrations and great design. So there we go. Okay, so after that, what happened? I went to Dove Bookshops yesterday. Now that's in the Bishopdale Mall, which isn't looking too healthy, and it's a great big cavernous used or second-hand bookshop, whatever you want. And on the way there, they've got a smaller pop-up shop in another empty shop, and they're charging like $2 for fiction and whatever. So from the pop-up shop, I picked up this rather minty copy of Ken Follett's The Pillars of the Earth. Now this is a book that's been around since the late 80s, which everyone recommends, everyone loves, and it's spawned a series, and I believe a TV miniseries a few years back. And it's basically about a small town in England. I believe it's a fictional town called Knightsbridge, and about the generations of families there and how the town grows and from a small village to a large thriving town, mainly because they're building a cathedral, and it takes many years to build the cathedral. And this kind of looks like an intergenerational story of all the people involved. You've probably heard of it before. Like I said, it spawned a series, spawned all sorts of spin-offs, and it's massively popular. One of the most favourite books in the UK, apparently. So that is The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. Okay, another book which I wasn't expecting to see in a used bookshop so soon is this one, The Great Wen by the, what do they call him, Wizard of Norwich or something like that, Alan Moore. Now, Alan Moore will be no stranger to you if you know comics from the last, say, 40 years. His name is on everything like The Watchmen, V for Vendetta, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, all that type of thing. And this is a prose book by him, not a graphic novel, and it is about a gentleman in London in the late 40s who discovers a book which shouldn't exist and leads him to discover the existence of a kind of like a parallel or alternate world London where all sorts of weird shit are going on, and of course there's some type of people after him for something rather, you know, the usual thing. I've never actually read a prose book by Alan Moore before. I've only read graphic novels, so it'd be interesting to see how it works out. It seems like a lot of his old obsessions or things that he constantly does take part in this, but there's like a blurring of fiction and reality and what have you. He used to fill his graphic novels or that type of thing. There's characters from books and whatever taking part in the main plot of the story that you're reading, and you know, that type of thing. So Alan Moore can't help himself, so that is the great win. Next up, Garth Marenghi's Terrortome. Now, I'm not sure if you are familiar with Garth Marenghi. It was a TV show in the, I'm thinking 90s or early 2000s. My memory's hazy on it, and it was kind of like a parody on the low-budget horror type movies or TV shows of the era, and there was like a self-loving maybe host who was an old horror writer called Garth Marenghi, and he would introduce the show. And of course it's become very popular as a cult show over the years, and a lot of the people who are involved in it have gone on to bigger things. And this is a kind of like a spin-off, very latter-day spin-off called Terrortome. It is horror short stories supposedly written by one Garth Marenghi, who of course does not really exist, but we just pretend he does so he can write a book. And I think it's probably going to be over-the-top ridiculous stuff, but you know, it's another book I was surprised to see in a second-hand bookshop so soon. It only came out in 2023. So that is Garth Marenghi's Terrortome. Another book I had on a wish list many years ago, well not many years ago, maybe 10 years ago or less, was this one, Seinfeldia. Now this is a story all about the origins and makings of the TV show Seinfeld, which you'll have to be very young or very ignorant not to know what that one was. It was one of the most popular TV sitcoms on television in a certain era of the 90s, and I won't explain what it's about. It was about comic Jerry Seinfeld and his friends, basically, and this famously the show about nothing. Now, I really love Seinfeld, and it's in the height of its era. It was one of my favourite shows at the time, and I would lap up anything about it really at the time. And this book came out maybe, I'm thinking 2017. Let me just check. Ooh, man looks at copyright page in book, makes amazing vision, I know. Okay, 2016 this book came out. Now I remember this one being promoted online, and I put it in wish list wanting to read it, and I never did. Saw hardcover copies in bookshops and never bought it. So I saw this in the second-hand bookshop yesterday, and I grabbed it. And it's fairly large text, so I don't think it's too detailed, but and the photographs of the people involved with Seinfeld in there as well. So, you know, a little bit of nostalgia for me. It's scary to think that Seinfeld is now like 30 years old or something, 34 years old. So that is Seinfeldia by Jennifer Keishman Armstrong. Okay, lastly from the pop-up store near Dove Books is The Lasr Samurai. No, it's not the Tom Cruise vehicle. It is a novel, recently came out, and it's by a woman called Helen DeWitt, and it's about like a child prodigy who learns all sorts of esoteric knowledge or whatever, but he doesn't even know his father, and one day sets off on a quest to find his father using the knowledge he's acquired. Now, I had this one on a wish list on I think Amazon or one of the book online booksellers for many years, and I was surprised to find it too at a used bookstore, but I'm sure eventually they'll all turn up in places like that. So anyway, that is The Lasr Samurai by Helen DeWitt. I think that's probably about it. This has been a very short, cheerful book haul for the month of February. I am melting here, like I said. I keep saying this in every video. I seem to have an amazing timing of filming these things on the hottest days. It is March anyway, so we're turning into autumn here in the southern hemisphere, and very soon hot days will be a thing of the past. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. We'll see you next time, and I hope you're having a good weekend or a good week, or morning or afternoon or evening, whenever you're watching this. We'll catch you next time.